Hello and welcome back to Gooner Gathering. My name is PoshBertie, the poshest man in all of sports entertainment, and I believe it is just me. But yeah, here we go. We are going to be discussing, of course, Arsenal's 1-0. Oh my word! Hello.
Hello, everybody. You didn't think I was going to leave you on your own, did you?
Yes, I thought you would. I was preparing for it and everything.
Well, there you go. Surprise run-in from the founding father. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're all well.
Right, okay, I've been completely thrown off here. That's great. Right,
Well,
okay.
I thought I'd come in to help you out, mate.
You can be my guest. Don't worry. Okay, but
Perfect.
before we get into the things that we're going to talk about, I want to. You may realise that I am wearing a different item of clothing that I have not worn in previous streams, and that is because this is an outfit, or a hoodie, I should say, that I have just bought about last week. If I can turn round, I don't know. Hang on. Can you? How do you zoom in? How do you zoom in on my screen?
There you go, sir.
Here you go. Look. I don't know if you can see it. It's the Bukayo
Lower.
Golazzo hoodie. I don't think you could probably see that, but still.
But we've still got a good view of your bottom, mate. So there you go. It's all good.
Thank you. That's the main thing. Get that spicy content out. It's Christmas after all.
Absolutely.
Good evening, AFC
for,
always. Good to see you.
Good to have you here, mate. Thank you for joining us.
And if you want to know where I got this outfit here, you can go to golazzo.com.
There you go. We're in my one as well, mate. Other players are available. You can get Gabriel Jesus, Emil Smith-Rowe. I believe the Bergkamp T-shirt's just got available as well. So there you go. There's the advert done. Golazzo.com.
Okay. I mean, I don't know who's leading this video now because you've suddenly turned up but yeah. So as I said,
mate. Jeez. I'm playing with you. Look, I thought I'd support you. Didn't think I was going to leave you all on your lonesome.
It was completely fine. Don't worry. But no, I'm pleased you're here, and we can discuss
Let's do it.
All that's gone on. So, as I'm sure you know, we faced Aston Villa on Saturday, a very informed Aston Villa side, and obviously the result was not what we exactly wanted. It did end 1-0 to Aston Villa. The artwork of Bergkamp is genius, like he was. We'll be discussing one Dennis Bergkamp very soon, actually.
Well,
so, yes.
Spoiler alert.
But so what were your thoughts about what you saw in the Aston Villa game? What are your first assumptions?
My first thoughts, Bertie, were that I didn't think Arsenal looked right from the get-go. Honestly, yeah. I thought we looked about a pace off from where Villa were, and total credit will go to Aston Villa and Unai Emery for how he's set up his side. The same, pretty much the same. I think they were unchanged themselves for what beat Manchester City a few days prior. But as AFC always says, in front of goal, we weren't threatening particularly, and unfortunately, yeah, if you're not threatening in front of the goal, you ain't going to score, are you? So it was look. I don't think we were terrible. Don't get me wrong, but you know, it was like certainly the first half felt like it was very hard work for me. Thought there was a bit of an improvement in the second, but like you say, this Villa side are creditable opponents. They put up an incredible fight against us. Very brave and thoroughly deserved their win. And that's without me even talking about any sort of decisions that we may go on to in a bit.
So I just realised that before we talked about your thoughts on the Villa game, I forgot to mention the team lineup, which I put in the back end a few hours before we decided we were going live.
Yeah.
So David Raya kept his position in goal. Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Zinchenko at left back. Obviously, Tomiyasu being injured. That obviously is one of the reasons why we kind of had to play Zinchenko, I guess, in that position.
Yep.
Rice, Kai Havertz. I'm not calling him 29 in this game because actually he's earned the right in that game not to be called 29. And Martin Odegaard in midfield, Saka and Martin on the wings, and Gabriel Jesus up front. On the bench, Ramsdale, Cedric, Kivior, Walters, Jorginho, Elneny, Reece Nelson, Trossard, and Eddie Nketiah. When you need a goal, you bring Eddie on, apparently.
You do. Absolutely you do.
And we didn't get one.
Bertie, what were your thoughts on the starting 11 here? Because I think we might kind of agree that particularly after Luton Town and the fact that we looked a bit defensively shoddy, frankly, at Kenilworth Road, I honestly thought a little bit of extra protection might have been needed.
The thing is, though, we got a bit of extra protection against Luton when we played Kivior instead of Zinchenko, and he was dreadful in that game. I didn't think he had the best of games at all. So we had no option, really, unless we... but obviously I'm going to state the obvious, which is we should never have got rid of Kieran Tierney, but we have, and we've made our bed and we have to lie in it. But now that Tomiyasu's injured, the only other option was to play Zinchenko at left back. There was no pretty much other option to really do against Aston Villa. So,
well, what would you have said?
You're there.
What would you have said if I, maybe tactically I might made it, and I think I might have said this to you prior. Potentially, I was thinking that little bit of extra protection. My thought process went to the Man City game, and we went to that double pivot in the midfield where you had Declan Rice, and then you had Jorginho, then you had Odegaard there. I kind of might have gone with that. I might have rested Martinelli because I thought he got kicked left, right, and centre. Not necessarily underhandedly, but it was just how the game progressed against Luton. Turns out, looks like Martinelli's actually out for tomorrow's game as well. So take that at face value if you want. But
so Martinelli's now injured.
Yep. So, but maybe I wouldn't necessarily say that means that he'll rule him out for the Sunday game against Brighton. I won't go too further forward on that, but we'll see. But I do know he has not travelled. Okay, so so this is the thing. I might have changed things around tactically a little bit. I might have started Havertz on that left-hand side of the three. So you have Havertz on the left, Jesus in the middle, and then Saka on the right. That's possibly what I would have done. But then, what do I know? I'm merely a commentator on the YouTube, sir. That was my thought.
Yeah. So again, I didn't know about Martinelli being unavailable for Tuesday. But to be fair, we'll talk about Tuesday in a minute. But it is a meaningless game for us because not only have we qualified for the last 16, but we've also secured top spot. So. Like I said, the game's basically a glorified friendly for us. So if we need a bit of rotation, it's for tomorrow.
Getting to that in a bit. You're right. It is an opportunity there for some players, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
As much as we would like to deter away from the Villa result, I would like to. I do have to say, I think one of the main problems in that result was not to do with certain refereeing decisions, but it was because we completely wasted our chances in the final third, especially when it came to the second half. 2 chances Odegaard missed where I thought he should have scored, and he did not have a good game. It was a bad day at the office for him, and I have contemplated the idea, and this is something you might not like, but I've contemplated the idea of stripping the captaincy off him and giving it to Declan Rice. He is much more of a leader.
Well,
What say you?
strangely enough, you say I might not like it. Do you know what? I might actually agree with it. So, look, naturally as a leader, we saw it with Declan at West Ham. He's always there. Even in his very first moments as an Arsenal player, you can see how influential he is, trying to tell people where to go and where they should be. Yeah, it's not the most outrageous thing you've ever said on this channel, sir. So no, I do actually agree with you in some respects. As AFC always says in the comment I've just put out, some occasions when the 50-50s were coming up, the area was kind of stepping away from it. And yeah, in fairness, maybe in terms of if Rice is made captain, like you said, maybe it makes Odegaard concentrate more as being a player, and maybe that responsibility is too much for him. I don't know. The chat might think differently. The chat might be thinking other things about Odegaard, which I probably don't want to think about right now. But because sometimes he has good games and you can see him playing well, and you know he has had a few games of just prior to this where he's contributed, but then we go to a real tough game here, Villa Park, always going to be very, very tricky, and unfortunately he was missing again.
Yeah, again. Let me just go through some of the comments. First of all, Fran has turned up saying, "I'm here. My boyfriend arrived home at exactly 8 p.m. He made it in time to watch Gooner Gathering. That's what he did." And looking fresh. Yes, I showed off my my new merch here. As you can
We're
see,
both wearing the merch.
It says Golotso on it.
We
so
love
there
you,
we
Fran.
go. And of course, it's the Bukayo Saka one.
Look at us.
I got inspired by my co-host there, and Fran also.
We are the young bucks. You know that we are the young male models of this generation. You know this.
Absolutely, could not agree with you more. That's one of the things I agree with you on it the most.
Come on, do it. Do the thing.
Yes, there we are. Fran says, "Hope to be able to stream more with you guys soon." I hope so too, Fran.
Absolutely.
AFC always says Arsenal's December remaining fixtures: Brighton at home, Liverpool away, West Ham at home, Fulham away. How many points can you see us picking up? I'm going for 9 points. Here's the thing. You think 10 points from
10 points.
Brighton, Liverpool from 4 games. So the maximum will be 12 and you think 10. I'll be honest with you. I can't see us getting even a draw at Liverpool. I really can't, but that's just coming off the back of a disappointing defeat to Villa. AFC always also...
positive persona, mate. That's what it is.
Arteta should play most of the kids tomorrow night. He says for tomorrow night, can't afford to risk any of our big players being injured. The kids have travelled. 3 players. Whether they'll get a start, they probably won't start. In fact, I can guarantee they won't start. Whether they'll come on off the bench or not for a meaningless game is, we'll have to see what happens. But I'm not the manager. I can't make any decisions regarding that. But it'd be nice to see them get minutes in a Champions League game. That'd be very nice. But it's not how it works, isn't it?
If anyone is to get any minutes, my gut feeling it'll be Walters, and the reason why is because I think we need to see another defender in action because we seem to be a little bit short in that area. And if he gets a game, it gets a few minutes in the Champions League game, which, like you say, is a dead rubber. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. BX is here. BX for life says, win at Villa, draw at Liverpool. We've played Villa and we've lost, so that's not true.
No.
Draw at Liverpool. I mean, our record at Anfield is awful. It's you know, it's not great, and because Liverpool are the team that we're in competition with at the moment anyway for the Premier League title, it's going to be a grudge match. And much like when we played Man City, Brighton, I was wondering, we should be beating Brighton at home.
You say that, mate.
I know, but we should be. That's why should, not we're going to. See.
I have bad memories. I have bad memories of just doing the chat-alongs in both these matches last season, and both not necessarily going to plan. I, in fact, distinctly remember throwing a pen away at the end of the Brighton game.
Yeah, one of my favourite moments on the channel. You broke character almost.
I did. I did.
Yeah,
at least you got the lols, eh?
Yeah. The reason why I am not confident in the slightest, I wasn't confident in the slightest when we were going to play Villa, I'll be honest, but Liverpool as well. I'll be honest with you, despite getting wins, our away form has been really shoddy. The only time we've looked good and convincing when playing away from home is against Bournemouth. Maybe the Sevilla game when we played away, but then we conceded the goal and we ended up being a little bit nervous in the last 10 or so minutes. Which has been the story of our season, really. We play so brilliantly, then concede a late goal, and suddenly, get your players at the back, park the bus, lads.
Where's Rob Holding when you need him?
Are you confident Arsenal beat Liverpool in the FA Cup? We've got the home tie. If Arteta gets his team selection right, and I think we will have to go full strength, because I want to win this competition. I want to win the FA Cup this season, since we're out the Carabao Cup now. So we got to go full strength, really. And I think if he gets his team right, I think we can do it. We've beaten Liverpool at the Emirates before. You know, in 2014, right? Liverpool were at their pomp going into a Premier League title race. They recently beat us 5-1. We then came to the Emirates. They then came to the Emirates and they lost to us when we had Yaya Sanogo up front. So, you know, anything's possible.
What's he doing these days?
So, look, I think if we go full strength, I think we can beat Liverpool in the FA Cup, but we'll have to see what happens. I'm hoping we do, and I hope we win that competition because I like a cheeky FA Cup.
The FA Cup is my favourite cup competition out of all of them. As a real old school Gooner, guys, I've seen my fair share of success in this competition. Long may that continue, please.
Yes, no, I totally agree. So I was saying about our away form. Our away form has not been the best. I mean, I look at the Chelsea game where let's be honest, we were lucky to get a draw. I'll be honest with you. It was all Chelsea, like for until like the 80th or 75th minute, until that lucky mistake from the keeper. Declan Rice puts the ball in the net. That was a bit of a blessing.
Just as you were saying, they weren't going to do anything.
I know it was like luck. That you got to admit that was like a gift from the gods. I think. Newcastle was disappointing. Lens, I remember, away from home, and the Brentford game was very close to being 0-0. All of a sudden, our player of the month gets the header in, and we get out of jail free. And again, I remember the Crystal Palace game. That was a penalty that we scored. I just think the only time we've looked convincing away from home was probably against Bournemouth when we won 4-0. I know we can't win 4-0 in every game away from home, obviously, but it'd be nice to go to an away fixture and it'd be nice if we go to an away fixture and be like, yeah, we were the better team. We showed them who's boss. We came into their ground and went, yeah, okay, we'll do it.
Brand's having a dig at a sister, you know.
Have we spoken about Man United yet? Hilarious.
I'm more worried about what we're doing, to be honest.
This is what I mean. I'm not criticizing you, Fran. I would never do such a slanderous thing, especially after buying your merch. But I think some Arsenal fans would rather we lost, providing Man United lost as well. That's how I'm seeing things. And I think some of them care about what they're doing more than they care about us. more than they care about what their own team is doing. Whilst, it's always nice to see United get battered, but, let's be honest, we've got to focus on our own team as well, because you never know. When we go to Old Trafford, they might beat us based on our away form and based on how United beat Chelsea. I think, I'm not ruling anything out. So you don't want to... We'll wait till we beat him at Old Trafford, then I'll make fun of him. But we'll have to see.
And believe me, if that does happen, we will thoroughly enjoy it.
Absolutely. Well, again, but I don't know when we go to Old Trafford. I think that's like in February, March time. No, I think it's second to last game of the season. I think
it's a nice distraction from the pain. She says, "Yeah, I get you, Fran, mate. I get you." But like you said, like Bertie says, so I'll sort of go double down on it. If you think about it, when you lose a game like we did on Saturday at Villa Park, and then all of a sudden we've lost the leadership of the Premier League, which is just the trophy that we all thrive for. No, it's not the be all and end all like this one fixture, but it's almost like feels a little deflating. Do you know what I mean? When you drop that point, and then all of a sudden someone else takes that baton off you. Look, the good thing here is we are December the 11th as we record this tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So it's not as if we're giving out the prizes like tomorrow. There's room for improvement. Absolutely, I want that to start tomorrow at the tea time kickoff, and I want us to be so quick out the blocks against Brighton, because believe me, I have a bit of a grudge against them. They made me angry on my stream. They made me break my character, and I want to see. But I do know they're a good side as well. That's what the Premier League's all about. Lots of good sides.
Absolutely. Lee is out for blood. He's there. He's here we go. Yeah. He's entered full on God mode there. Good segue from AFC always. For me, the kick on Jesus in the penalty area was worse than the one of the Palace and Liverpool game. Theirs got given and ours didn't. So I will talk about some of the decisions that were made.
Yeah.
So another thing that tends to rattle me when it comes to some Arsenal fans, especially on the Twitter machine, is that so I believe overall the blame for the Villa defeat was the fact that we wasted too many chances in the final third. Yeah. And the refereeing decisions was just a bit on the side. It was okay. If you're having steak and chips for dinner, the players' faults were the steak, the referees were the chips that you get, right? So that's how I see it. It was the side order. The referees were the side order of onion rings. There you go.
There you go.
There we are.
Simpsons reference of the day.
Food analogies there. But
I get you.
It wasn't. Referees weren't all to blame for our defeat to Villa. So the whole handball situation on Matty Cash was, I think, a dodgy decision. I think. And I do understand why people were frustrated, saying that was the wrong decision. They shouldn't have given it. Now, on the Jesus penalty thing, I understand I am going to be in an extremely slim minority here, but I don't think that was a penalty. He pretty much slipped over. I watched it back. Like, I thought it would have been incredibly soft if the ref gave it as a penalty from all the angles I've seen. I think Jesus got his leg up a bit high and then he kind of toppled a little bit. I saw it was Douglas Luiz, who I really want at Arsenal, by the way, at some point. Douglas Luiz kind of like, not shoved him, but it was kind of like it was more of a gentle tap than I think it may have. I think there was a bit of an exaggeration on some Arsenal fans, because I think there's hardly any accountability when it comes to the players from some Arsenal fans on Twitter. They just try and want to blame their defeat on referees so they don't have to get bantered by rival fans.
Don't work for me, mate. don't work for me.
I just think that, yes, some of the refereeing decisions were a bit dodgy. Maybe not so the whole penalty incident. I think that was probably the right decision for me. But again, one of the main
point,
reason why we
yeah,
the main reason why we lost was because of the wasteful chances we made. Fran says the amount of people I've seen talking about a conspiracy is crazy. Well, my view is, right, any team apart from Tottenham, it's just funny. Tottenham haven't had any like dodgy VAR decisions against them, and the media are loving
they
them.
might argue that.
Well, I don't, not that I know of anyway, but
put your head back to the Chelsea game, sir, where you know the Tottenham fans are going to see the incident where they had the red card and the penalty and all that sort of thing. They're going to think, well, oh dear, that's not brilliant. You know,
the Romero red card I thought was a straight red. It didn't even need to have a VAR check. In my opinion,
that's the thing. That game in particular had the range of the emotions, didn't it? Where they thought they got away with it, then they had the red card, and then all sorts of stuff were going on. So yeah, you're right.
That Romero red card didn't need a VAR check. I thought it should have been a straight red anyway. And then Chelsea had 2 offside goals that were somehow ruled out by VAR, and I thought, yeah, something's not right here.
I actually think, Bertie, that we should be better than this conspiracy theory stuff.
No, I understand, but I'm not out to get anyone saying this is a blatant conspiracy and everything is against everyone and whatever. No. But I just feel that Tottenham are getting a bit more favourable decisions in their favour compared to maybe some other clubs. But I want to focus on us. I want to focus on Arsenal.
Of course.
And think that if there wasn't any mistake such as lines not being drawn against Brentford or something. It wasn't that kind of mistake. But what was responsible was the players, again, wasteful chances. And our away form, once again, as I mentioned, was being just not good. It's not consistent enough. It is not consistent enough. And the idea of VAR itself, I understood why it was introduced. Because referees can't see some decisions from the naked eye, can't they? And the idea of VAR itself was to sort out some of the fouls and the potential penalties or red cards referees may have missed. But the officiating and the people behind it, and it's. I know that's a bit of a hypocrite because I mentioned I should be scrapped in general, but the idea of VR itself was good. But when it's happening, it just ruins the game.
It does.
Like 10 hours to let a goal be scored.
It does. It's taking away half the enjoyment of the game. You're right. The theory of it, was good. It was there to support the referee on the field, but we're sort of opening up a whole sort of can of worms, which is making for that conspiracy theory to come out somewhat.
Yeah,
it's made the game worse. As AFC always. Yeah, I get you. Some of it, it's and doing what we do sometimes, Bertie, especially during the live games. It's sometimes quite frustrating, isn't it? Because you want to go full on celebration mode if something goes your way, but then you're not sure, and that moment where you're just trying to figure out what was going on. Is it going to be ruled out? Is it not going to be? It's really, really annoying, and like we've said, it's taken half the enjoyment away from the live match. It used to be, I remember when we only had sort of the referee and a couple of linesmen. Now we've got the linesman's mate, the linesman's got assistant, the guy that does the linesman's cup of tea, and all this other stuff. And it's just like, oh my God, It's so many people there doing the job or supposed to be doing the job, and it ends up it's making it worse.
In the World Cup, they got it spot on. I think there was an incident between Japan and Spain that was a bit dodgy, but apart from that, yeah, I thought it was. Oh well,
overall,
France, England, and France. There was
protection.
a bit of controversial refereeing, wasn't there?
Yeah.
But I think, and I'm sick and tired of talking about it in every video. So it's just
Makes you change from something else, mate. So
yeah, I know. Oh, I do want to talk about something. There was one positive from the Villa game.
Go for it.
Obviously, it's not all positive because we lost and the players wasted their chances, which I've mentioned time and again. There was one player that I thought had a good game. One player that I thought can actually, hold his head high and say, yeah, you know what, I tried. I put the effort in.
Took the words out of my mouth. He fought in that midfield.
Absolutely. And I might get criticised here. I might get called a turncoat or a Judas by some people when I say this. But the player who I thought was the best Arsenal player on the pitch against Villa was this man. He's got every right to put his thumbs up. If this was a few weeks ago, I would have told him to take those thumbs and stick it up somewhere that I won't mention because it's a family-friendly channel.
Thank you.
But now he's got every right to hold his thumbs up like that after the Villa game. That, I think, was probably his best performance in an Arsenal shirt.
Interesting. As an overall whole of the game, consistently trying to put the effort in, working that midfield, and had a few efforts on goal himself. AFC always agrees. I agree. 29 was the best player. Yeah,
he was actually quite good. I called him Havertz today. I called him by his name. He deserved to get called by his name after the performance he put in on Saturday. Anymore, and if he goes back to early season Kai Havertz, then I'm back to calling him 29 again. But you know what? Since I'm hoping because he got Player of the Month. I mean, that doesn't say much because Erik ten Hag got Manager of the Month in the Premier League, and
Harry Maguire was Player of the Month in the Premier League.
God, just
low.
Bet his mother had something to say about that.
We're not in a Xhaka situation here yet. AFC always not yet.
But I think I'm hopeful. Ever since the Brentford goal, Kai Havertz actually hasn't made me agitated. He scored against Lons, scored against Luton Town, and whilst
goals,
he didn't
mate.
score against Villa, he's not going to score in every game. I get that, but he was one of our best players. Maybe that goal against Brentford was a confidence boost that he needed. And I'm hopefully that's a huge weight that's been lifted off his shoulders because that goal he scored, it wasn't a sympathy penalty like he scored against Bournemouth. That was an actual goal that sent us top of the league and won us a very crucial game. Yeah. And I think ever since then, he has not put in such shambolic performances like he's done previously. So fingers crossed, it's probably me doing a commentator's curse, but I am hoping that he has turned a corner and that he can consistently perform like he's done. Because actually, I look at the game against Villa. If he puts in those performances like he did against Villa, then he's actually he could actually prove the doubters wrong.
Yeah,
and do well. I really do think that, but it's going to take a bit of convincing, considering all the stuff that's been going on from August to November. If you know what I mean.
I think I was consistent on the channel when I said give him time and it will come good. It doesn't necessarily happen overnight, and it's quite humbling to hear, Posh, that you're quite willing to even say in his name. To be honest with you, I never thought I'd get there. It's quite ironic, actually, that you're praising him today when my dear wife Anna was just scrolling through the YouTube earlier on today, mate. And funny enough, one of the videos she actually commented on is that it's the YouTube short where it had myself, it had Spencer, and it had you on it. And it's when I'm asking you, how are you doing today, sir? And you're like on your phone and you're saying, hello?
Yeah.
Is that the police?
Yeah.
Chelsea have robbed Arsenal £65 million. You on that? Oh, hello. Didn't see you there.
You kind of froze a little bit, but I think I knew what you were saying. You were talking about the short where I said, yes, is this the police? Chelsea have robbed £65 million of them. Yeah, that one. That wasn't even during that was during pre-season. That was, I believe, when we lost to Man United
game, I think.
Yeah. Speaking of which, AFC always says Fulham have scored more goals than Man United. They got 10 goals in 2 games of Fulham. They're on a roll at the moment.
I think I'd just say Alex Iwobi is just starting to find a bit of form as well, and that's nice to see over there. He was my FPL transfer in of the week, and it's come good on two occasions.
I've reached the stage of the season where I just forget about FPL. And this is the thing. Like, I start off focusing on it in the first few weeks, and suddenly I just lose interest and forget. It's what I was warning you about, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It didn't help when Haaland got injured, and I think that's
may be. Do you know that is a really valid talking point on this stream, actually, because he missed the Luton game over the weekend. He's still looking like he's doubtful. Have City got a bit of a problem on their hands here? As their goal machine, has he run into a bit of bother?
Well, he's had a shocker the past 4 games, so I don't know really, but I'm not sure. I think after the Luton game, City are going to probably, if they play their cards right, they got Rodri back, providing he doesn't get about 500 yellow cards this time. They'll probably go on a big run, so we'll have to wait and see what happens on their front.
Keeping a very watchful eye on them.
Yeah, because I don't think they're out of the woods just yet. I think they know they can't. They're not out of the title race just yet. They're not. But so that's what I think. I reckon they'll try and go on a massive run. It's not the £65 million fee. It's a 330k a week that I find outrageous. Yeah, I think he's one of the highest paid players there, which I think is ridiculous. But then again,
that's football in general, isn't it?
Yeah,
the money's extraordinary. Fair play for anyone who can get themselves on a contract like that. But I know what you say. We want the week in, week out performances. We want to see the goal output. We want to see the goal assist. We want to see the ball going in the net. That's what we want. And as Bertie has quite rightly said, over the last sort of month or so, he's showing a bit of form. He's like turning the corner a little bit. I'd really like to see him play up front tomorrow, actually, and try and keep him in that sort of form against PSV. That's what I want to see, especially with Martinelli being absent, with Saka. Although Arteta said, he's fine, I don't really want to see Saka tomorrow. I'll bench him possibly. I'd like to see Reece Nelson potentially play. But yeah, well, that's what I want to see. I want to see Havertz carrying on and leading the line and scoring a few goals tomorrow.
On the topic of Reece Nelson, I did a little tweet saying that if I were Reece Nelson, I'd be handing in a transfer request because he only came on for like 2 minutes in the Villa game, and I don't think he's got he was signed a new contract, right, to be a rotation player, but I understand rotation players don't get the most games. I get that, but he only featured once, and that was a League Cup game against Brentford, and I don't even think he played the full 90 minutes in that. I just think that he's been wasted, I think. And whilst I do think we do need depth in that winger position, and we need to focus on maybe some other positions in January, like a striker, for example, to make sure these wasted chances are going to go in the back of the net, I just think Reece Nelson, if I were him, I'd be thinking, hang on, I signed a contract to hopefully play, not regularly, but a bit more.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
The issue is the players in front of him, isn't it? Martinelli, Saka.
I think being a backup for Saka is always going to be hard. It's always going to be a hard thing to do because Saka plays like every game and every minute. So
you are right though, mate, because you know he did sign the contract. He's a good player. He certainly will get into a lot of starting 11s along the league. That's for sure. Had a lot of impact last season off the bench. He probably would benefit a move like Iwobi did, and you know, for Everton and now for Fulham, he's getting some game time and he's showing a bit of form. We'd probably see it more consistently if he played bit week in, week out. That's the issue. So whether you know, I would imagine it's the January window as a whole, as a general train of thought, is a bit of a tricky one for me because I don't see a lot of the big teams making any sort of moves at all, especially in the light of the financial fair play situation. I do see like a lot of loan move potentially. I see
Ruben
a lot
Neves, I'm hearing, and things like that.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, one that I have heard potentially could happen. You mentioned my boy Eddie going out. Yeah, I've heard that rumor coming about again that may be willing to cash in on the on him, but getting a adequate replacement to hit us up to another level in January is probably going to be tough. That's my gut feeling.
Yeah, and all this talk about getting players like Ollie Watkins and Douglas Luiz, Villa are not, unfortunately, they're not going to sell when they're being on this amazing run that they're on this season. They're not going to sell their best players to Arsenal in midway through the season. They're not going to do that.
Quite right. No, that is probably the best point you've made on the stream. Villa, let's be fair, an absolute top quality side at the moment. You know, they've showed that they've been consistent. They've got some excellent players in their side, that spine of the side. Bear in mind, one of the members of that side, one of them key members, has been missing since early doors, and that's Tyrone Mings, centre half England player. He picked up that nasty ACL right at the start, probably game week 1 or 2. But they've carried on. They've played very, very well. And stranger things have happened. AFC always, you're right.
I haven't ruled it out. I said in August when I did a video with Spencer, who has been a regular on our channel, we did a Premier League predictions video, and I said, hey, watch out for Aston Villa this season. Do not sleep on them. And I didn't even rule it out. I said, hey, you know what? Wouldn't surprise me. Shock of the season, right? They went and did a Leicester and won the whole darn thing. I said it was unlikely, but it's something I wasn't going to rule out. And, you know, you never know what may happen. But if Unai Emery finishes above Arsenal this season, this is when questions are to be asked about what direction Arsenal are going in.
Yeah, perhaps, but we're saying that without going into Christmas. Lots of points to fight for, especially in this next period of time, where that strength of the squad will be absolutely for sure. For example, you said how good Douglas Luiz is. He's suspended for this game this weekend for the yellow card accumulation. So how they will deal with that, and perhaps other injuries and whatever that will come along, we'll see. We'll see how serious they are with their bench players, etc. And Villa, also a good test of ours.
And Villa don't necessarily travel that good away from home, for as far as what I saw. Losing to Nottingham Forest and losing 5-1, 6-1 to Newcastle, wasn't it? And so they lost Douglas Luiz. So I think they got Brentford away, and as we know, that is a tough place to go to. So that'll be an interesting game to keep an eye out on. Let's move on from the Villa defeat now, because we talked about refereeing and bad player performances and Kai Havertz may or may not turning a corner. We will talk about the game tomorrow against PSV because, Mr. Meadows, it's time to play a game called Guess the Starting 11. Hey, right.
Wonderful.
I do not know what the starting 11 is going to be. And that was Guess the Starting 11.
Thanks for watching.
So, this is a meaningless game, right?
Yeah.
We're through to the last 16. We've secured top spot anyway. So this game is basically a friendly, a glorified friendly, as we say. It's a house show, pretty much. You know, what do you think is going to happen in the team? Is Arteta too stubborn to make any rotation changes, or are we going to see are we going to see almost a new look squad against PSV tomorrow?
It makes sense to me because we've got a game on Sunday. This is a dead rubber fixture. Yeah. I think it's an opportunity. That's what I think. I think it's an opportunity for certain players to come in and see their worth. Let's do it. Let's go from back to front, shall we? So if we're going to guess the starting lineups, let's go with the goalkeeper. The one. This is the subject that has divided a lot of fans. It's divided some of us on our channel. Would you believe? But then, what, Bertie, what would you go with? Will you go with, I'll give you 3 options, or you could just be awkward and go for the youth academy 4th choice. So
Carl Hein in goal.
For Raya, Ramsdale, or Hein?
Hang on a minute. I'm gonna try and get the lineup builder up so we can do it.
We've never done this before. Oh, this is exciting, isn't it?
Is it going to work?
Go on, Posh. You've got this.
There we are. So
I'm so proud of you.
I agree with you. The fact that it might be a little bit laggy. I do apologize because it's going to load on both StreamYard and here. So, yeah, I do agree with you. I think I would put Ramsdale in goal for the PSV game. What do you think about the right back option, assuming that we use this usual formation?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assumption to do a 4-3-3. So, do you remember that crazy occasion where our dear Fran, bless her, said I'd play Cedric Suarez?
Yes, and that was a game that actually meant something. This is a meaningless game.
I think this is like a promotion from him walking the dog.
Yeah, we'll go with it. I mean, these are your ideas, so
okay.
And then I'll
if
this
you
is
can
your
hear background
idea,
noise, by the way,
and I'll amend it later on. Sounds quite familiar. That. What's the background noise?
Background noise is my wife and my little girl behind this closed door. So if you hear what's going on behind me, I apologize.
All right. We've not got many options. We've not got many options for rotation at centre back. I personally think I would rest Saliba for this game and play Gabriel and Kivior. But then what about left back?
Remind me, is Ben White with the squad?
Yes, I think so.
So listen, if we're gonna play rotation, I might have Ben potentially as centre half. Then I have Kivior next to him. This is exciting.
Oh, God. Yeah, I apologise for the lag here.
It's all right, Posh. Just play it cool, son. Play it cool. It's building the suspense, all right? There he is.
There we go. It's because This is a fun fact, right? The K button doesn't work on my keyboard, so I'm gonna have to write CRAC and then wait for autocorrect to get cracker up, and then I get rid of all the other letters for K.
How do you lose a letter on your keyboard?
No, I haven't lost a letter. It just doesn't work. I am gonna get it fixed at some point. Anyway,
and if you want to donate to PoshBertie for
yes.
getting a new keyboard, you can do that. Check our pinned tweet. So yeah, I put Kivior there and a left back, just for fun. I know Waters can play right and left, and I think I'll be giving Waters a debut here.
Okay. Here he is.
There's Kivior.
And
to be fair, Kivior, you know, he's only had 3 starts in the Premier League. He's not been terrible at all. I think his Arsenal career's not been spectacular, but he needs games, doesn't he? I think that's probably fair.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to displace Gabriel and Saliba.
No, I understand. You don't want one of them getting injured, don't you?
Yeah. BX saying he's a good player. Yeah, I agree. He's done all right.
And he wanted Waters at left back.
There you go.
Wow, what a back four this is.
So there we go. So that's our goalkeeper and defence sorted.
Yeah.
Right. Now I want to probably play Odegaard, and he needs to play to get, because he was so absent against Villa. I'd probably have him there somewhere.
Okay. Here he is.
There he is.
There we are. Okay, that is, I think, the attacking midfield position anyway. The middle one is the defensive bit.
So this is where I'm going to cause a bit of controversy altogether now. Mo.
Well, blow me down with a feather. Mr. Mo Elneny gets in your team.
Mow me down.
Oh, that joke was monumental, sir.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching. Yes, my humour is that bad. Sorry about that. But if you like it, give it a like.
So there we go. Mo Elneny. Yes, he's still there. He's still employed with Cedric. And he's playing according to you. You'd give him a go. I'd personally put Jorginho there, but there we go. I'll tell you what I would go with after we do your lineup. Where I take your lineup and ruin it.
Yeah. That's probably a good point, to be fair. Because I've been putting us. Yeah, perhaps.
Do you want to change? Or does Jorginho go in the other position, the Xhaka role?
I'm kind of tempted to want to see Emil Smith Rowe there, honestly.
If he's fit enough to start, that is.
That's the point, isn't he? He's only just back from training, isn't he?
If not, I'd probably, because he's on form, I'd probably put Havertz back in. But
I'm playing Havertz in that top left striker place.
Okay.
Then I probably have Nketiah. Then I probably have Nelson.
All right. This is so. Okay, so
So yeah, maybe I could put Jorginho in there just for sake of sake of argument and for a little bit of fun, because he can operate there too.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see how Waters can, not only defend, can he go and support the attacking play when necessary.
Yep. Where did you want Havertz? Up front or?
I want Havertz on left side of the 3.
Okay.
and then I want Nketiah in the middle, and then I want Nelson on the right.
Again, I apologise for the slowness here because it's very laggy because I've got the StreamYard up and this as well. So, yeah.
To be fair, this is the first time in over a year of doing Gooner Gathering we have done this. And I think it's been seamless.
And of course, Mr. Meadows, you want Nketiah up front. I know you do.
And the reason why is because I want to manage game. I've mentioned it before. I want to manage game time. Jesus, I like him. I really do, and he has had some good form. I'm just worried that he's an injury about to happen. So obviously he's had his setbacks, and he's just got back in. So that's the reason. It's a dead rubber. Nketiah hasn't had much game time at all in the last 3 weeks. He literally had a cameo over the weekend against Villa, where we did have a moment where we did have a kind of goal that was not given that Nketiah was involved in, but yeah, that's probably what I'll do.
Okay. Oh God, I just clicked on his name and there we are. And you wanted Nelson to complete the lineup there.
I think so because he's deserved it, and Saka needs to have a little bit of a break perhaps, and there'll be other youth products there as well that might want to. You might want to mention in the squad as well. I did send you that in the group as well.
Yeah.
It might get some game time later in the game potentially.
Potentially, but I think he's more likely to start off from off the bench. I think.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying.
This is the lineup you would go for. Ramsdale in goal.
Clip it, everyone.
Cedric the dog walker at the right back. Ben White and Kivior at the back. Walters at left back. Mo in defensive midfield. Jorginho and Odegaard as midfielders. Nelson and Havertz on the wings, and Edward and Nketiah up front. So let me whack all that with a hammer and see what personally I would change to the lineup. So
as you hit the reset button, what I'll do, I'll read out BX's comment, and that he's going for Ramsdale, Kivior, Gabriel, White, and Cedric, Elneny, Havertz, Odegaard, Nelson, Eddie, and Sergio Jr. I'm not sure as he could travelled. I'm not sure. I would need to double check that.
Walters, Elneny, and Lewis Kelly have travelled, I think, and that's it.
Right. Okay. But there you go. This is what's fun about this, right? We can have opinions, and I think this is the first time we've done our predicting our starting 11s in this format. So I think this is fun.
It's incredibly laggy, but I do like it. So I would keep Havertz in the starting 11. However, I will not play him in this position. And I'm sorry, but Mo, you're gone as well. Again, I would keep Jorginho in there as well, but I am going to
switch him into the centre.
Switch him in Mo's position.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, again, this is a slow computer.
He's really slow.
I mean, listen, thank God I'm not using it on the computer where I did the first edition of Posh's Pipe Bomb, because if you think it's slow here, good heavens, imagine doing it there. From my dodgy office signal as well. So I put Jorginho in the defensive role. I would put, because he actually played well like that against Villa, put Havertz in the Xhaka role, as we call it.
Okay.
And because he didn't play against Villa, he came off the bench anyway. I've gone with my boy, Well, he's not really been my boy the
Trossard.
past 2 games because he's been dreadful. But if you want him to get back on
Yeah.
form, what better time to play Leandro Trossard than a meaningless game like this, where hopefully he can get some of his form that we know he can back in the team.
Yeah, that's a good arguable point. He's certainly had some good moments during the season, and so yeah, it's a good point.
I mean, so now I would personally at the back. I'm not going to change anything for the. I do want to make some changes at the back, but I'm not going to do it here because of how slow it is. But what I would do, I'd keep Ramsdale in goal. I'd probably still have Gabriel in the team. Maybe Cedric at right back maybe can happen, but I'll play White and Gabriel at centre back and Kivior at left back. That's what I'll do.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
But I'm not going to change. I'm not going to verify these changes because it takes forever, and I've already lost my patience. So there we are. That was a different way of picking our starting 11.
Well done, Posh. I'm so proud of you. Well done.
I mean, listen, it took forever, but it was worth it.
Could you double check that on the Arsenal website, please?
Oh yeah, okay. In fact, I'll show you the text that you sent me.
Thank you.
So
if you do that, you double check that, and I'll say hello to Stefano, LFC, even to my Arsenal fans. LFC versus Arsenal title race. Let's go. Good evening. I think Stefano is a new name to us, so welcome, and thank you so much for taking the time to jump in and watch what we're doing. Doing the gathering, we are here. We are a family-friendly Arsenal channel. Everyone can have their views at any time, even PoshBertie.
And that says it all, really. So to answer BX's question saying which youth players have travelled, it is 3 players. I was wrong about Lewis Skelly. Walters, Nwaneri, and Souza.
No, Souza is the left back, I believe. I think I've seen him before. And I thought I recognised. I thought it would have been from Uncle Roger's group. Yes, and having had the pleasure of being on his channel a couple of weeks ago, I need to return the favour. And being that Liverpool coming up, I think we should do it on a preview show coming up soon. What do you think?
I enjoyed your the video that you did with Uncle Rod's, and I
did. It was good fun.
Absolutely, it was like so chill as well. Like you just talked about Arsenal memories and things like that. It's very good. I'd love to go on there. I was
talking wrestling more than anything else, to be honest.
Oh no! If you could put a word in, I'd love to go on his channel and just do that video. But yeah,
I'll do it. Absolutely.
I don't want to. I'm not forcing him to do anything. I'm not putting any pressure on him. But it'd be nice to do something like that because I like to, just be nice to go on other people's channels and everything. Nice to gain that experience and. Yeah,
I think that's what YouTubers do, mate, isn't it? I think we all. I've certainly experienced this in sort of the year and plus that we've done Gooner Gathering. Right, it is so fun to collaborate with so many other people. I'm thinking like TJ Warren, who I've had a message from today, who'd love to come back on, and the likes of Fran on Goal Art, and everybody else. There's been so many. And we all support. There's so many people who support each other, and that's what YouTube's all about. Ultimately, we're all here to basically provide a little bit of an escape from the weird and wonderful place which is outdoors, and and provide a bit of entertainment. That's what we do, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go. So that's the starting 11. All sorted out. Are you confident of us getting a result tomorrow, mate? That's, in a bit of a dead rubber situation.
I won't be. I won't be watching the game actually because the certain organisation that I volunteer at events with have got their Christmas party tomorrow at the pub, so I will be there having a few drinks instead, Steve Austin style. There we go. So I will not be. I probably won't be watching the game. I'll be. Other engagements are happening, and you know what? If any game I'm going to miss, it's going to be this one because, like I said, it's an equivalent of a house show, isn't it? It's a meaningless game, and if there's a game that I don't mind the result, it's this one. I don't
No
know. I
pipe
think
bomb at
there'll
the
be a
end of
lot of
this one then.
rotation. I think it'll be probably be 0-0, probably be 1-1. I think 1-1. I'll go for.
I'm going to back the boys, and I'm going to say 1-0 to Arsenal.
I just
All
think
right.
it'll be a lame duck game because it doesn't mean anything, and there'll be lots of rotation. I just think we've got top spot anyway, and we're already through to the round of 16, so it's a game in which I'm not feeling any pressure over.
Yeah, exactly, and it's about perhaps potentially having a look at a few other players as well. Maybe Nwari might get another bit of a run out. We haven't seen him in a little while. Like we said, Walters potentially coming in playing one of the fullback positions might be nice to see. Yeah, we'll see what happens. It tells you everything. It's a tea time kickoff as well, mate. So
Oh, is it 5:30?
It's 5:45, I think. So yeah, it's an early one. Everybody, make sure your DVDs are all set or whatever they're called these days. Your Betamaxes.
Yeah. Stefano says, I've enjoyed seeing Spurs flop massively. The fans got very cocky. You say that, but they won against Newcastle on Sunday. And look, yes, it's great to see us, well, temporarily get our Tottenham back. But I do think when Maddison and Van de Ven come back, then they'll be cooking again. I unfortunately think that.
I actually thought that they were going to get a result yesterday against Newcastle, and I think Newcastle are starting to sort of catch up from the fact that they've played so many games already this season. Their squad is a little bit thinner than everybody else is, and they're literally having to play the same 11 week in week out on the moment. I mean, they've even lost their blooming goalkeeper, haven't they? The Pope, and Dubravka played at goal. I mean, players are making mistakes which they wouldn't normally do. Trippier, as certainly comes to mind, made a couple of uncharacteristic errors for me. I do think they will return back to their normal form. Newcastle, they will get back into it. It's only a matter of time. Anyone who's thinking, I mean, I've seen a little bit on the socials today, and and I know John Sinclair has as well, who's a resident YouTube expert over at Newcastle United, has seen it. But the old Eddie Howe outs. Goodness gracious me, really?
No, this is where I disagree with wanting to get rid of a manager. They've got an injury crisis, and he's taken them to the Champions League. Yes, they were so unlucky to probably get knocked out as well, because that decision, the VAR decision, is actually a VAR decision I can get behind in terms of calling it out. I don't think when they get their players back, they'll do well again, and it is going to be. And I said it's going to be difficult to for them to implement what they did last season. You got Aston Villa on the rise. Arsenal hopefully will be up there. Liverpool are coming back. City, Man City, and everything like that. So it's like I said, it's the most competitive season that we'll see. We've seen certainly in my lifetime, which is what I said at the start of the season. And for Newcastle, you can't really afford any injuries, and they've got their injuries, and yeah.
Absolutely. When you're having to rely on a lot of kids so regularly, it's very, very difficult. That they're certainly ones that are going to be active in January, I would imagine, because they have that financial backing as well, as we know.
But I think the idea for Newcastle fans calling for Eddie Howe to go, I just think is ridiculous.
Eddie's a top manager. You don't realise just how good you've got it when you've got someone like Eddie. That's a ringing endorsement certainly from the pair of us. So there you go.
I think if I can see any reason for Eddie Howe to leave Newcastle, it'd be when Gareth Southgate steps down as England manager and Eddie Howe takes over. That's what I'd like to see. If England fail to win the Euros, if England don't do as well as we think in the Euros next year, I think Gareth has outstayed his welcome, and I think Eddie Howe should take over from him definitely. If people are so adamant that the English manager must be English, then Eddie Howe, I think's the guy. Either him or Serena Wiegman.
Absolutely. Serena has done the business. That's
I'm
for
on
sure.
board with it.
Yeah. Be certainly will send shockwaves around the world, but you can't argue with her record. Honestly, you can't argue with it at all. Brilliantly put. I think that pretty much sums up where we need to be, Posh. You reckon?
Yeah. One more thing that we can talk about. You sent me this, and Dennis Bergkamp's back at the Emirates for a bit. Well, they're considering. Arsenal are apparently considering bringing in Dennis Bergkamp to work with the academy as a coach. Is that correct?
I believe so, sir. I believe so.
I think that's a very good appointment if that's the case.
Even if it's a temporary. Show him the Southgate. Okay. Welcome in, Nick. Hello, mate. Good to see you, mate. So look, Bergkamp, if he comes in even as a guest for a couple of weeks or whatever, the experience that he can just bring on to the academy kids. Can you imagine just working alongside a legend like Dennis? I mean, I bet I was privileged enough to be there and see it in person, mate. And you know, you don't players like that don't come along very often. And that only can be great experience for anyone involved. Matt sent us something very interesting as well, saying that he was always going to come back to football once his kids had grown up a little bit. I believe one of his boys are playing in non-league level, I think. You'll have to correct me where exactly they're playing, but they're certainly at an age where they're at a non-league level and playing. So, you know, as they grow up, if Dennis can come back and add a little bit of knowledge, that's all good for me.
Yeah, and if we get an injury crisis up front, we can get him to get his shooting boots on and go and play for us, like Jens Lehmann did against Blackpool.
It's a good point. Stranger things have happened, boys and girls. Stranger things have happened. Anything can happen in the World Wrestling Federation.
Absolutely. I think that'll be it for us. I don't really want to talk about Ebbsfleet again because we bottled. I'll talk about them. We FA Trophy, right?
You were there, mate,
the non-league equivalent of the Carabao Cup. We played Bishop Stortford, who are not only a league below us in the National League North, but they're bottom of that division as well. So surely you'd think, and even an out-of-form Ebbsfleet side would be able to win that game. And we were 1-0 up in 5 minutes of added time. It was all looking fine. 94th minute was 1-1. And then it came down to penalties because they thank God they didn't do extra time because I would have missed. Mind you, I did miss the Villa goal anyway, which left kind of right, really.
Bad thing, is it?
But yeah, we lost on penalties. I can't remember who the Ebbsfleet player was, but he skied. If he was playing rugby, it'd be brilliant. But I think surely this is it for Dennis Kutry as Ebbsfleet manager now. I think something's got to give, and I think it's in the immortal words of Owen Hart, enough is enough. It's time for a change. So there you go. That's one of two managers of my clubs I want to get shown the door so far this season. Hopefully I won't call for both to be shown the door.
Okay.
One already I've lost my patience with one of them. Hopefully Arteta won't be like that as the season draws to a close. Fingers crossed. Right, well, anyway, that's enough of that. I believe that is it for our video. Gooner Lee Meads, where on earth can they find you on the socials?
Thank you very much. So they can all find me at Gooner Lee Meads. They can also find us at Gooner Gathering. They can also find us on the TikTok channel, which I really enjoy producing them videos. So where can they find you, sir?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at PoshBertie. My Instagram is at Bertie Wanless.
And if you've got this far in the video, and if you haven't already hit the like button, and if you haven't already hit subscribe, come on. You've put up with our nonsense for about an hour and 15 minutes. If you could do that for us, that would be incredible. I want to thank PoshBertie for hosting today's stream. I had no intention of being on this stream today, but through a last minute substitution, you have the founding father here. So I hope you've enjoyed the video today. And yeah, we shall see you after the weekend. Oh, sorry, after the Champions League game. Probably Thursday, I think we potentially put up. So we'll have a little look back at the Champions League game, a little bit of a preview into Brighton, and I think until then, Bertie, I think we're just about done, son.
We most certainly are. So until then, have a good time, and I'll see you probably on Thursday.